The government of the United Kingdom has not issued any statements and seems to be complicit as Nigeria disregards both court rulings and the United Nations concerning the unlawful detention of Nnamdi Kanu. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel, the exclusive 24/7 News Buzz, where we will provide you with the latest updates on Biafran news as they unfold. Kindly subscribe, share with your friends, and activate the notification button to ensure you are the first to receive our updates as they happen. The news in details. The indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, has expressed its disapproval regarding what it perceives as the United Kingdom's ongoing silence and seeming complicity concerning several legal judgments that have deemed Kanu's arrest and detention as unlawful. The indigenous people of Biafra (IPOB) has alleged that the government of the United Kingdom is complicit in the unlawful abduction, extraordinary rendition, and extended detention of its leader Nnamdi Kanu, who holds the Zoo Nation and British citizenship by the Zoo Nation authorities. In a press release issued by its media and publicity secretary, Emma Powerful, the indigenous people of Biafra (IPOB) expressed condemnation towards what it characterized as the United Kingdom's continued silence and apparent complicity in light of multiple legal rulings that have deemed Nnamdi Kanu's arrest and detention to be unlawful. The statement indicates that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was forcibly taken from Kenya in June 2021 in a state-sponsored criminal act of extraordinary rendition and returned to the Zoo Nation without undergoing any extradition proceedings. The indigenous people of Biafra (IPOB) stated that the action contravened multiple legal frameworks, including Section 15 of the Zoo Nations Extradition Act, Article 12(4) of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, as well as Articles 9 and 14 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights (ICCPR). According to the indigenous people of Biafra (IPOB), 3 judicial forums in the Zoo Nation, Kenya, and the United Nations levels have all reached the conclusion that Nnamdi Kanu's fundamental rights were violated. As stated by the indigenous people of Biafra (IPOB), there are significant legal opinions and rulings concerning Kanu's detention. This includes a 2022 opinion from the United Nations Working Group on Arbitrary Detention, which deemed Kanu's detention unlawful and advocated for his release and compensation. Furthermore, the Kenyan High Court has issued a ruling declaring Kanu's abduction on Kenyan territory unconstitutional and has awarded damages. The indigenous people of Biafra (IPOB) also referenced a ruling from October 2022 by the Zoo Nation Court of Appeal, which determined that the extraordinary rendition constituted a fundamental violation of the Zoo Nation law, thus nullifying the proceedings against him. Furthermore, a federal high court in Umuahia, Abia State, awarded Kanu 500 million naira in damages in 2022 due to similar violations. Despite these rulings, the indigenous people of Biafra (IPOB) expressed disappointment that the British government has neither undertaken diplomatic measures nor publicly denounced the actions of the Zoo Nations Authority. The group stated that this situation is in stark contrast to its own principled response during the Diko affair in 1984. They referenced that the attempted kidnapping of former Zoo Nations Minister Omar Diko in London, which led to a diplomatic crisis and subsequent sanctions. Referencing the decision of the Zoo Nations Supreme Court in the case of Diko v. the State 1987, the indigenous people of Biafra (IPOB) noted that Justice Kabi White stated, "The trial of an accused individual who has been presented before the court in contravention of international law and without adherence to extradition procedures is deemed null and void. Jurisdiction cannot be bestowed upon the court through unlawful means. The indigenous people of Biafra (IPOB) have accused the United Kingdom government of betraying the very principles it once stood for due to its refusal to intervene in the case involving Kanu. The group asserted that British silence in this matter does not equate to neutrality, rather it signifies complicity. The indigenous people of Biafra (IPOB) further contended that the accusations against Kanu, which primarily pertained to political brokers, were purportedly carried out in the United Kingdom and do not constitute criminal acts under UK legislation. Referring to Section 76 of the Zoo Nations Terrorism, Prevention and Prohibition Act of 2022, the indigenous people of Biafra (IPOB) asserted that the Zoo Nation Court do not possess jurisdiction in the absence of evidence demonstrating that the acts in question are also criminal offences in the United Kingdom in accordance with the principle of double criminality. The indigenous people of Biafra (IPOB) has called upon the United Kingdom government to issue a public condemnation regarding the extraordinary rendition and ongoing detention of their leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Furthermore, they urged the UK government to deploy diplomatic and legal measures to advocate for his immediate and unconditional release. Furthermore, it requested that the United Kingdom government elucidate its stance to the British Parliament and the public regarding the justification for its inaction when a British citizen is illegally abducted, tortured, and indefinitely detained in violation of international law. Lastly, the group expressed that the United Kingdom faces a decision between upholding its declared commitment to human rights and the rule of law and prioritizing political convenience by protecting a rogue state. It is not feasible to pursue both options simultaneously. In summary, the indigenous people of Biafra (IPOB) criticized the United Kingdom for its silence and alleged complicity in the unlawful arrest and detention of their leader Nnamdi Kanu by the Zoo Nations authorities. IPOB claims Kanu was forcibly taken from Kenya to the Zoo Nation in June 2021 without extradition proceedings, violating multiple legal frameworks including the Zoo Nations Extradition Act and International Human Rights Covenant. Legal rulings from the Zoo Nations, Kenya, and the United Nations have deemed Kanu's detention unlawful, with the UN advocating for his release and compensation, and Kenya and the Zoo Nations courts awarding damages. IPOB expressed disappointment over the British government's lack of diplomatic action or public condemnations against the Zoo Nation, contrasting it with the UK's response during the Diko affair in 1984. IPOB accused the UK of betraying its principles by not intervening in Kanu's case, arguing that British silence signifies complicity rather than neutrality. IPOB contended that the accusations against Kanu related to political broadcasts are not criminal under UK law, challenging the jurisdiction of the Zoo Nation Court based on the principle of double criminality. Lastly, IPOB called on the UK government to publicly condemn Kanu's rendition and detention, advocate for his release, and clarify its stance to the British Parliament and public regarding its inaction. Thank you very much for staying with us at the end of this news. For now, do well to subscribe, like I said earlier. Subscribe, share, and also hit the notification button so you can be able to be one of the people that will receive our update. immediately as e dey drop.